took a while for me to teleport in. Alright. Hello and welcome or welcome back to the stream. My cat is very upset. Oh, apparently we've got an incoming ad break in 2 minutes and 53 seconds. It's counting down. I've never seen her do that before. That's terrifying. Okay, Twitch. Well, I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, my cat doesn't like me streaming. She's bitten me twice after I finished streaming, but last night maybe it was when I did my 4-hour stream. I can't remember which night because I don't know. I get all the days just merge into one. No, it was last night. She walked up to me. She strutted up to me, and usually she does that when she wants to come under the covers and have a cuddle. So I lifted the covers up for her to come underneath, but instead she bit me really hard on the arm, and then she turned and walked off. And I was like, fine, I'm not sleeping with you tonight. Like, when you come and try and have a cuddle, I'm going to ignore you. But I woke up at 6:30 a.m. this morning, and both of my arms were wrapped around her. Her head was underneath my neck, and she was under the covers snoring. And I was like, well... I guess you're not learning your lesson. But yeah, that's how she expresses that she's angry at me for like streaming. She bites me. So I don't know what I'm gonna do about that because yeah, she's an angry cat. Howdy, Ricochet, good to see you. Yeah, I think I did. I think I let her under the covers in my sleep. I think I did. Because I think I do go on autopilot a lot when I'm sleeping, especially with her. Like, because she likes to sleep with her head facing my head and like with her head tucked under my neck, and she likes it when I have my arms wrapped around her. So I think that's what happened. All right, apparently we've got an ad starting soon on Twitch, so I don't know what happens with that. 30 seconds. Do I just keep on talking and then it just has a delay with chat or something? I don't know. I don't know how it works. I've made like $15 from like 2 months of streaming on Twitch, so that's pretty exciting. You're subbed? Oh, if you're subbed, you don't get the ads. Oh, is that how it works? Okay, that would make sense because you actually get something for your money. That makes sense. All right, well then I'll just ignore it then because like the 2 people in chat are subbed. Oh, hey, Dimpledore. Yeah. All right, let's do the spelling bee then. Ooh. So the stream is called Methotrexate Monday because I have to take a drug called methotrexate every Monday, and that's so I don't forget, because if I forget to take my medication, it's not great. So I'm always like, every Monday I have to remember it's Methotrexate Monday, and then because I take methotrexate, I have to take folate to like counteract the drug. So then I have folate Fridays, and that's how I stay alive because I'm too bimbo brained to remember, because my other medications I take every day, so I just kind of like always take them with lunch. But yeah, all right, let's go. We have the letter U and A and D and P and F and R, and we have to use T. All right, so I see update. Oh no, there's no E. Well, Oh, it's not on screen. Yeah, I do it at least 50% of the time. Just forget to put it on screen. Shush, shush, shush. I would like to think that one day I will get it right, but I more than likely won't. We can have fart. Let's go. We have fart and tart. Trap. Data. Up data? Is up data a thing? Data up? Up data? I don't know. We can have dot. We can have dot. Part. Oh, we can have draft. Oh. Will I ever not be dumb? No. The answer is no. Apt. It will say it's too short. Tartar's tartar. We can have tartar. Oh, that's it. We broke the game. Oh, we got David. Got David Lee back in the chat. Hello. I just had it on the Twitch chat for a second. I had to change it back. All right. Let's try and do the crossword. Coffee informally or a big coffee producing island? Java? I think that's Java. Because Java is an island in Indonesia, if I'm not mistaken. Figure skating jump. Twirl? Axel? I don't know. Wide-ranging music playlists. On deck. Down under welcome. G'day. But we usually add, well, I always add a see you next Tuesday to that. But I'm trying to not swear so I can take the vulgarity tag off my streams on YouTube so I can get monetization faster. But I don't know how that's gonna work. All right, one down is a printing issue starting with J. Two down is cutting down. Yeah, a jam is a printing error. That does make sense. A horrible person is back, guys. That awful, awful man who is a horrible person. Maybe this could be vexed, annoyed, with a V and a D at the end. Oh, shit. I didn't mean to do that. Please go away. Vexed. That's how you spell that. It is now. I don't care. 4 down. Virtual assistants whose name starts with the letter as its parents. Wait. Virtual assistant whose name starts with the same letter as its parent company. I'm going to go with Alexa. Because I think that's owned. Google is owned by Alphabet, right? I'm pretty sure. Wide-ranging music playlist mixed. Oh, shit. No. Why don't my fingers work properly? Amazon, but both work. Oh, is it owned by Amazon? I thought it was owned by Google. Who's owned by Google then? Isn't one of the voices owned by Google? I always thought Alexa was Google. I don't know. I don't use Amazon anyway. I've only used Amazon once to buy my friend a birthday present because they only sold it in America, so I had to get it on Amazon. And I ended up paying like $200 for a pair of slippers. Don't ask me. It was the whole thing. Wilbur's home in Charlotte's Web. Oh, I remember that book. It's so sad. It's so sad. It's the saddest kid story. Why do they make such oh, this is Axel. 5 across figure skating jump. That's an Axel. I remember that from the Olympic Games. There we go. Google's Microsoft AI is Katana, but she's dead now. She's dead now. Oh, is that the one where you used to call her Alexa? She used to be like, who's Alexa, you sluzzer? What? 8 across on deck. What do we want to do? Katana is Windows / Microsoft. Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't use any of those. I do have an iPhone at the moment though, because my other phone died, so I had to update it. Axine is 2 down. All right, so we got to work out 8 across on deck. Neck. Or Wilbur's home in Charlotte Web, 7 down. We've got a D as the first letter and a Y as the last letter. Six could be mixes. Yeah, I just put a D there because, you know, I'm dumb. Oh, he lives in a sty because he's a pig. He lives in a sty because he's a pig. Yeah, that makes sense. Wilbur is a pig and Charlotte is the spider. And it's really sad. And why do like the little match girl and Charlotte's Web and stuff, why are those kid stories? They're so awful. You use Samsung, but iPhone is good for face tracking. Oh, deck is next. Okay, well, yeah, we got that. We did it. We did it, guys. All right, let's do connections. This one always does my head in. What do I use for face tracking? I just use something called VSeeFace. It's just a program. I don't have like full rigging. When I have like more money, I know how to do it. I just don't have the equipment that I need to do it. So like at the moment, it doesn't really track my body. It just sort of tracks my face. It tracks my body as a lump. So like if I turn like this, it'll track me. If I lean back, it'll track me. But like it won't track my like arms moving up and down. It won't track like my finger movements or like my finer movements. But my facial expressions for the most part, it can do. But we'll get there. It's just like once I'm even generating like $100 a month, then I'm happy to put that back into the stream. But at the moment, it's like, well, I'm not gonna put money back into streaming until like, you know, I'm gonna at least break even. So yeah. Create groups of 4. Yay. All right. We have dog, dribble, secret, footprint, rat, shoot, leak, splash, banana, source, canary, block, mark, pass, hat, impact. And I don't know, we have to find 4 themes for 4 words. Let's give a shuffle. Well, we have canary and leak, and they used to use canaries for gas leaks in coal mines, right? Could that be a thing? Canary, gas leak. No, I don't think there's any other words that go with that, actually. Shoot, leak, splash, dribble. I'm not going to comment on what that theme could be. I'm not going to comment on what that theme could be, but that could possibly be a theme. Let's try that. No, you made us lose a life, Joey. Dog mark footprint. All right, we're gonna have to get a bit more creative, I think. Rat investigating. Rat as a source. Leak. Yeah, we could have a leak. Rat. Source. Dribble, block, pass, shoot. Yeah, I think that because it is American, so it could be a basketball thing. It could be a basketball thing. I didn't notice a theme in the crossword, so I don't think they're going for a theme today. I think. Yeah, we'll go. I think that's basketball. I think a horrible person is on to block. Pass, shoot. All right. I feel good about that. I reckon that might be something. Let's give it a go. Yeah, basketball. All right, cool. We've got one out of the way. Okay. We use canaries to find the source of the gas leak. And what else could we have? We could have dogs. No. Rats. No. Impact. I still reckon there's something there with that. But I also reckon there's like something to do with journalism or something to do with because I do think rat secret leak and source is maybe something, but I'm not entirely sure. Criminal informants. Mark seems off though. Yeah, it does. It doesn't really fit as well. But I mean, they're leaking secrets and they're ratting out people with secrets. So maybe secret is the one that goes in there? I don't know. Maybe we'll try something else. For now. See if we can find anything. Rat sauce leak canary. I've never heard canary used like that. Like, I guess like a whistleblower is sometimes called like a canary in a coal mine. But that's like not necessarily. Well, we'll try it. We'll try it. Should we? Footprint mark impact splash. Yeah, we'll give that a go actually. I'm just gonna try this, see what happens. Nope. All right. Stepping in a puddle. Informant, canary leak rat sauce. Okay, they did want to use canary like that. Yeah, I did it, Joey. I did it. It's all right. We're all good. Top banana. Top banana. Who has heard that expression? It's all right. It's all right, Joey. We did it. We got it. It's all good. We did it. All right, we got basketball moves, big impressions, informants, and top banana, top dog, top hat, top secret. What do Andrew Tate's little bros call themselves? Top, what do they call him? Top G. Top G. My brother went to a gig at the Manning Bar, I don't know how long ago, and there were just all these people marching, and he was like to the venue, and he was like, "We're gonna go free Top G." I'm like, what are you doing? I don't know. It was really funny. You had to see it. My little brother is a massive shit poster because he takes after his sister. And we constantly just are sending each other like memes about abusive mothers, and it's like, it's a way that we express our love, our sibling affection. Just sending each other stupid shit. Let's go look at the mushroom lady. The mushroom lady is in trouble, guys. She has been convicted. It's all going down. Uh-oh. Yeah, all right, let's do it. I'm just taking a deep breath. Oh my god, I had to go to Coles this evening and I almost had a panic attack. There was like, I wanted to go, I really like these protein drinks, these Rocker V Farm protein drinks, and I need to have a lot of protein. And there was like this gym bro standing in front of the drinks and I was like, oh no, what do I do? Like, I don't want to wait here for him to move. It actually stressed me out. And then, because the chemist that I usually go to used to be 24 hours, but it got its funding closed. It got its funding closed. Wow, I'm smart, guys. It got its funding cut. Meant to say that. It got its funding cut, so it's only open till midnight now. So now I have to go there when there's people there, and I didn't like it, and yeah, it was annoying, and that's all. I just wanted to share that story with the class.
And welcome to a special edition of 9 News coming to you live tonight.
Oh,
from
do you not have sound? Oh no, I don't have my headphones. I'm doing well today. I was like, where's the sound? And then I was like, oh, I literally forgot to put my headphones on. Yeah, I think the whole country is obsessed with the mushroom case because nothing really happens here, honestly. We don't really have any interesting things. And it is like a very, you know, she was creative, old Erin Patterson. I will give her that. She was a bit creative. We do like to see it. We do give 10 points for creativity. I think, you know, she took a little bit of inspo from Gordon Ramsay. You know, he's obsessed with his little beef Wellingtons. She took a little bit of inspo from there. She took a little bit of inspo from Recipe Tin Eats, apparently. You know, she was out here, you know, utilizing the social media stars for her recipes. So we do appreciate a little bit of ingenuity. She was using the local what do you call them? Like the local like naturalists that go out and like take photos. Oh look, I found some death cap mushrooms in this park. And she's like, yeah. She's just on the internet creeping on everybody, you know, concocting her plan to kill her in-laws. I mean, I don't know. Look, I do have some friends that are married, and apparently in-laws, I don't know. Some of the stories I've heard, I don't know. It sounds it sounds kind of relatable, to be honest. Not condoning anything, obviously. Don't murder anyone. Murder is wrong. But yeah, I don't know.
Good evening and welcome to a special edition of 9 News coming to you live tonight from Morwell. Erin.
Well, she was really elevating local ingredients, Hyperbovian. Like, you know, she's supporting local produce. She's supporting the local community, so you know.
Patterson is a murderer. After
Ooh.
deliberations, a jury of 12 men and women today convicted the mother of 2. It's nearly 2 years since she invited her in-laws to lunch and dished up that now infamous beef Wellington laced with poisonous mushrooms. But tonight, justice has been served. Court reporter Amber Johnston leads our coverage.
Erin Patterson has always said she didn't do it, but today the possibility of doubt was replaced with
Yeah, Hyperbovian. The Department of Prosecutions in like every state is just overwhelmed. It usually takes at least 2 years for something to get to trial. And depending on the risk, like to society that somebody is, they'll either be out on bail or they'll be in like remand, they'll be in like custody until the trial. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how the poor old duck's gonna do it in jail. I don't know. She looks like, I don't know. I mean, obviously she needs to be punished, but I don't know. Maybe it's just my little whammon brain. I'm just like, I don't know. She just kind of seems, I don't know, just give her an ankle bracelet and put her in a shack in the bush or something. She'll be right.
Certainty for the attempted murder charge for Pastor Ian Wilkinson. Erin Patterson is guilty. For the charge of murder for Heather Wilkinson, Erin Patterson is guilty. For the alleged murder of Gal Patterson, guilty. And finally, Brett, we're just waiting for that last charge to come through. For the alleged murder of Donald Patterson, Erin Patterson is guilty.
You say that until the police all start getting wellies in the mail. Yeah. And let's be honest, cops will eat anything. What about the kids? I think they're adults. I believe her kids are adults, so they'll probably be fine. I think I remember being shocked at how old Erin Patterson actually is, because I think she looks considerably older than she is, but let me have a look what her age is. I'm pretty sure her kids are adults, but I'm not entirely sure. So yeah, she's 50. Her kids are video volume is a bit low. Okay, hang on. Oh yeah, I turned it down for the horse girl game yesterday. I was looking at gaming PCs today as well, so I think I'll get one in the next few months. I have to get my car serviced first, and I own a 20-year-old Mini Cooper, so it needs a big service, so that's going to cost me at least $4,000. So once I recover from that, hopefully in like the next little while, the next month or so, I'll probably shell out for a proper PC that actually, isn't a potato with an electrical current running through it, and we should be good. But yeah, let us know. Just rob a bank with a beef Wellington. Should I borrow Hassan's airsoft gun? Right, because then I can't get in trouble. Is that how it works? I don't know. We'll see.
Guilty of murder.
The mother of two has been exposed for who she really is, a triple murderer.
3 people have died, and we've had a person that nearly died and was seriously injured as a result, and that has led to these charges. I ask that we acknowledge those people and not forget them.
On its 7th day of deliberations, word came that the jury all agreed. The courtroom silent as 12 strangers served the mushroom cook her fate. She's guilty of the murders of her estranged husband's parents, Don and Gal Patterson, and aunt Heather Wilkinson, and guilty of the attempted murder of her husband, Ian Wilkinson.
They were some of the best people I've ever met. They never did anything wrong to me, and I'm so devastated about what's happened.
Erin Patterson's estranged husband Simon wasn't in court to hear the verdict, but his representative was.
Do you have any idea how they've reacted to hearing this verdict? It must be a huge relief.
Tonight, he knows.
Holdens are collector's items now, Joey. Holdens are collector's items. Hold on to a Commodore. It's a, they don't make those anymore, so.
The woman who was once the centre of his world is now the architect of his deepest grief. The jury deciding she did in fact kill 3 members of his family, the mother of his children, now facing life behind bars.
I'm devastated. I love them. And I can't believe that this has happened.
Erin Patterson is guilty of one of Australia's most twisted murder plots. But between the litany of lies and damning allegations, she has not been entirely alone. One loyal friend has stayed by her side throughout the trial, a silent anchor amid a tide of judgment.
Ali, she said to you, see you soon. Were you hoping to see her?
I will see her.
At times, it felt like the set of a true crime drama, with photos of the lunch leftovers and CCTV of Erin Patterson dumping a food dehydrator shown to a court packed with public interest. But at the centre of this case is a seemingly normal family embroiled in an extraordinary tragedy. Beef Wellingtons laced with death cap mushrooms, the murder weapon in one of Australia's most bizarre mysteries. But all along, there has only ever been one suspect. In a Hail Mary attempt to convince the jury, Erin Patterson sat in the witness box. She was up against more than 50 prosecution witnesses.
Yeah, see, that is really interesting because most of the time a defense attorney will advise you not to give evidence, right? You, as the accused, you don't have to give evidence in your own trial, because if you do, you're going to get cross-examined, right? It's really something that they didn't have to decide whether or not it was they charged her with murder, so they did decide it was intentional, but they didn't decide I don't think anyone could work out what the motive was, but the judge gave them instructions like, you don't need to find a motive, you just need to find whether she intentionally poisoned them with, the intent to kill them. So, and that's what the jury determined. And so there's three murder convictions and an attempted murder conviction for the guy that survived. So yeah, I don't know. That's dialing in from the UK because you listening to accents from home. Oh, you're pretty sure in New South Wales the jury can find adverse conclusions against you if you don't take the stand, though, right? Yeah. So yeah, it's just more a strategic thing. It's just more a strategic thing. Like the jury's still allowed to, deliberate and acquit or convict. It's just strategically, it's really unwise. As a victim of crime, you always have to testify in your own trial, right? Because you are the main witness. So the prosecution's always going to get you to testify, especially in like cases like SA and domestic violence and things like that. It's usually like she said, he said, she said, unless like there's forensic, evidence and things like that. But when you're the accused, you have the right to not self-incriminate, right? So you don't have to basically do anything. But you have to sit there and listen to the trial, obviously. You have to be in the courtroom. But yeah, I mean, there have been cases where people have been found guilty of crimes in absentia, which means that like they've been absent. They haven't even been, for logistic reasons, perhaps they haven't been able to attend their own trial. That has happened, but yeah. We got JPC Way here. Where in Australia are you from? And why are you in the UK? I don't know. I'm one of the Australians that like went to the UK and I was like, yeah, I could never live here. I'm going home. Goodbye. It's like 6 weeks in the UK was enough for me for a lifetime. Goodbye. That's what I did.
And admitted to an avalanche of lies, conceding she misled police when she told them she had never owned a food dehydrator and had never foraged for wild mushrooms. Her lawyers tried to argue it was all a tragic accident and she panicked, telling the jury she might be a liar, but she's not a killer.
Is there anything you'd like to say about the verdict? Are you expecting to appeal, Mr. Mandy?
The prosecution accused Erin Patterson.
If I was a barrister, I would wear my wig all the time. Like all the time. You would not see me without. I would wear my barrister wig to bed. What do you think about that, boys? You're from Melbourne, but living and working near London? Oh, okay, yeah. I'm in Melbourne. I'm not from Melbourne, but I live in Melbourne.
Patterson of more lies, arguing she was never poisoned, never sick, and never fed her children the leftovers. The Crown maintaining she lured her estranged husband's family to the lunch under the guise of a fake cancer scare and murdered them.
But in the end, the jury decided the puzzle was no longer a mess of tiny pieces, but a bigger portrait of calculated cruelty.
But as Erin Patterson was bundled into a prison van and whisked away to a maximum security prison, one question remained: why? The Crown telling the jury motive is a ghost they need not chase. Now, for the first time, we can reveal where Erin Patterson was held throughout the trial. She's been locked away inside the cells at the Morwell police station and transported into the court through an underground tunnel. This photo, a rare glimpse of her in the midst of a marathon trial. Her defence barrister raised concerns about the horrendous conditions in the cells. He stressed she had an agreement with corrections about the things she could take into her cell: a doona, a pillow, writing materials. She wasn't given those things. She can't operate like that. It won't be fair to her.
She'll write a book for when she gets out. Yeah, but we have really strong proceeds of crime like legislation in Australia. So if she does write a book, she won't be able to profit from it. So I don't know how that will work unless she wants to give the proceeds to charity or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, there's like a lot of sickos out there, a lot of like true crime girlies, those girls that just sit there and listen to like the descriptions of heinous murders and get off on it while they do their makeup or whatever. Those chicks, yeah, I don't know. There's definitely a big. Can she have mushrooms in her cell? Well, I mean, some of the jails that I've visited as a social worker, I think there's already mushrooms growing in there, Joey. I remember Parramatta Jail, which is one of the oldest jails in the country, right? It's been used since like convict times. It only closed, I think, like 20 years ago. It closed in like recent history, like relative to how long it's been around. And the RSPCA, they were looking at buying it, right? They were looking at buying Parramatta Jail. And they said, they looked at it, they inspected the premises, and they were like, this isn't even fit to keep dogs in. And that was being used by the New South Wales Department of Corrections until like, you know, relatively recently. So yeah, that's yeah. I've jails, some of the newer jails, they're fine. Like they're pretty all right as far as like, you know, there were magic mushrooms growing near the New South Wales Start Parliament this year on Macquarie Street. Yeah, I used to live in Potts Point, so I used to like walk through the Domain and like behind Sydney Hospital and New South Wales State Parliament all the time. And there is like a class that there are, yeah, I have seen them. Let's just say I have seen that particular patch that does come up after heavy rain. It's the types of trees that grow around there, I think, apparently.
Her if that situation continues. But this is now Erin Patterson's reality. The puzzle finally solved. For so long, everyone has had an opinion on this case, but now only one opinion matters: the jury's. Tonight, Erin Patterson, guilty.
And our court reporter Amber Johnston joins us live now. Amber, you've been here for every day of this case. 709 days since that.
You're guessing when people are sheltered a bit from more brutal things in their normal life, they can develop a morbid fascination with things like murder. That's 100% my theory, because all of my girlfriends that are really into true crime and all of that really macabre shit, they like have very normal, happy, you know, upbringings, no trauma, but I always have like that adrenaline and that fear in me somewhere. Like I'm like a very hyper vigilant person because of my childhood. So I can't listen to stuff like that. I mean, I have a job where I have to confront like horrible things, but I get to like help the people experiencing the horrible things, so that makes it very palatable to me. But yeah, in my spare time, I don't want to be anywhere near that type of stuff. I'm like, no. But yeah, I think there is something about people that kind of have a cushy life, you know, trying to feel anything, some type of adrenaline, some type of, yeah, just anything.
That fateful mushroom meal. For Erin, she's been in limbo all that time. Now she knows her fate. What was her reaction?
That's the question everyone's been asking. How did Erin Patterson react as soon as those verdicts were announced? And really interestingly, we didn't see a whole lot of emotion from Erin Patterson, which is fascinating because you might remember during a number of occasions throughout the trial, she would break down crying, she'd be wiping away tears, but not a single tear today. She was staring at the jury and also looked at members of the media a number of times. And the only really interesting observation we made from Erin Patterson is that she was blinking quite furiously. And if anything, we probably saw more emotion from her defence team inside that courtroom, who just looked absolutely defeated as soon as those verdicts were announced.
I guess another interesting element is who wasn't here today.
Yeah, so the sole surviving guest of the lunch, Pastor Ian Wilkinson, not only was he a star witness in the case and he got into that witness box and gave incredibly emotional testimony, but he also attended every single day of that trial. So that is almost 10 weeks of his life. He came here every single day, but there was no sight of him today. He wasn't here at court, nor were any members of the Wilkinson or Patterson families, which is another really interesting observation. We haven't seen any sight of them today.
And just quickly, where to from here? Sentencing comes next?
So the next thing that will happen in early August, there will be a mention, and that is to set a plea hearing date. So that will be the next court hearing. That's when we hear victim impact statements. Then it will go to sentencing, which is when Erin Patterson will learn her fate. And then after sentence, her defence team have a 28-day window to formally lodge any appeals if they wish to appeal that conviction. They haven't mentioned yet whether they intend to appeal, but we should find out in the next coming months.
All right, Emma, thank you for your coverage.
Yeah, they studied communications at uni. You know, we're not gonna get any groundbreaking analysis from them. I don't expect too much. I know the types of people that like studied broadcast journalism, and yeah, let's just say it's it's not a pool of our brightest.
Coverage today and throughout this trial. Well, from here in Morwell, Erin Patterson is now returning to the maximum security Dame Phyllis Frost Centre. We'll go live to Mimi Becker, who is at the prison in Ravenhall this evening. Mimi, Patterson is on the move.
Tom, she is. Erin Patterson is around 30 minutes into that 2-hour journey here to the maximum security prison. And this prison is not new to Erin Patterson. She has been behind bars since November 2023. And tonight, 9 News can reveal that Patterson has been a cook here at this prison. And she's also been accused of tampering with inmates' food here at the prison prior to the trial. Now, Erin Patterson was put in solitary confinement while that matter.
Yeah, I did get a new dress. What are you saying what to? I was talking to somebody in the YouTube chat, if you were wondering what I was saying, if you couldn't see it, Joey. Oh, that she was a cook. You were saying what to? Yeah. No, that is crazy. That is crazy. Number one, two things are crazy to me about what we just heard. Okay, first of all, somebody like her, I would assume a judge would say isn't, a judge determining whether or not she will get bail. Usually somebody like her with no, criminal history and, who's killed close family or at the time was alleged to have killed close family members, they wouldn't be rendered a risk to the wider society, right? Because like that's a very intimate crime, right? Killing your family members. She obviously had beef with them. She didn't have beef with society at large, if you will. But now they let her, with what she was accused of, they let her, you know, assume a role as a cook in the jail. And apparently this lady, maybe the jury came to the right conclusion. Someone's pissing her off and she's tampering with that food. I don't know. Erin's a dark horse. She's I underestimated you. Jeez.
Matter was investigated, but no further action has been taken. While Patterson is familiar with these prison walls tonight, security will be keeping an extra eye on her as she spends her first night behind bars as a convicted triple murderer. Tom?
All right, Mimi, thank you very much. We'll take you live now to our crime reporter, Gillian Lantouris, who is in Leongatha this evening. And Jill, interested to find out how the community there has reacted.
Absolutely, Tom. I think a big sigh of relief. Friends and family of the victims say that they just want to focus on honouring and remembering the victims and just moving forward. But I am here at Erin Patterson's house. This is the home at the centre of that murderous lunch. And I'll just show you there are tarps up everywhere, and that is for privacy reasons. Her supporters actually put those up during the deliberations because it seems they were fairly confident that she would walk and would get that not guilty verdict, but obviously not the case.
Yeah, I definitely would not be eating any food prepared by Erin Patterson, that is for sure. I mean, jail food's pretty freaking gross. It's just like meat and 3 veg, but it's like so bland. And that in and of itself is why I will never commit crimes, because I don't want to go to jail and eat bland food. Although I guess now you can get like your shin ramen in there. You know, you can get some commissary money and you can get some shin ramen. At least that has flavor. At least it's a little bit spicy.
Now, I have also spoken with some members of the Curramborough Baptist Church. That is where Pastor Ian Wilkinson is the pastor. He wasn't there, but a big group actually congregated there to watch the verdict live. And interestingly, they say that they feel sorry for Erin and that they don't hate her. And that is because she was a member of their church for quite some time, of course, when she was with Simon. But back here in Leongatha, I think a lot of people are just shocked that they're a small town in the Gippsland area has just been put on a global map. I've spoken to a neighbour of Erin Patterson's earlier today.
A lot of my mates that are overseas and stuff are saying that they're seeing Leongatha on the news and interstate, so it's been a bit of a thing for the town to be on the map.
People have been coming up and down this street looking at the home. It's become a bit of a tourist attraction, but of course it is very important to remember that 3 lives have been lost and 1 person seriously injured. Tom?
Absolutely. Gillian Lantouris there in Leongatha, thank you very much. Well, in just 2 years, Erin Patterson has gone from a mother of 2 living in regional Victoria to convicted triple murderer. In between, she became the focus of one of the country's most baffling mysteries and the subject of headlines not just here but right around the world. Stephanie Anderson explains.
Erin Patterson in hysterics.
I didn't do anything. I love them and I'm devastated that they're gone.
The mother of 2 breaking down in front of journalists as she maintained her innocence. But the same question always remained. Is this the reaction of a grief-stricken relative or a cold and calculated killer who murdered her own family?
We have breaking news for you now, and 2 elderly women are dead And 2 men are in hospital after suspected food poisoning in Gippsland.
The local pastor and his wife and her sister and husband, pillars of the community, embroiled in a bizarre tragedy that made global headlines.
Now to a trial focusing on whether a woman committed murder by serving mushrooms with lunch.
An Australian woman has been charged with murder.
It was July 29, 2023, and Erin Patterson was preparing beef Wellington at her home in Leongatha. Her in-laws, Don and Gail Patterson, Gail's sister, Heather Wilkinson, and her husband, Ian, arrived just after midday. The women offered to plate up, but Erin insisted she did it alone. They sat down, said grace, and shared in pleasant conversation before the mother of 2 dropped an unexpected bombshell, a fake cancer scare. The guests gave their advice, offered their well wishes, and prayed. Later that night, they became incredibly sick with what they thought was gastro, until they were so bad they had to be rushed to hospital.
It's a really shocking situation. All the people who are involved are very well known in our community.
66-year-old Heather, her 70-year-old sister Gail, and her husband Don, also 70, died in the following days. Ian Wilkinson fought for his life in hospital. Doctors confirmed it was death cap mushroom poisoning, and mystery started to build around the host.
The homicide squad raided a home in Leongatha yesterday with detectives questioning a 48-year-old local woman.
Erin Patterson was interviewed and released, returning home from hospital where she refused to answer questions from the media.
Erin, how are you going? I'm going.
Disturbing drawings on the wall of a home previously owned by Erin Patterson were made public after a local tradie was asked to paint over the haunting discovery. I am dead. No, I am really dead. I kill you with my sword. R.I.P. Grandma. Meanwhile, the Department of Health raced to find the source of the mushrooms. Erin Patterson claimed she bought them at Woolworths and an Asian grocer in Melbourne's southeast. She seemingly cooperated and at times answered questions from police, but she always remained the #1 suspect.
Good evening, Erin Patterson, the woman at the centre of the mushroom poisoning mystery, has been arrested in a dramatic early morning raid on her Leongatha home.
Just days later, in the backseat of an unmarked police car, Erin Patterson was whisked away from her family home and driven to the Wonthaggi police station where she was interrogated. Police seized a number of items from her house, including computers and mobile phones. A food dehydrator was...
Yeah, she definitely committed all of these crimes in a very boomer-esque way. Like, she left an insane, like, digital footprint. Like, they've got geodata, exactly where the mushrooms were, like where somebody had found death cap mushrooms. They've got her, you know, they've pinged her, they've triangulated where she was from her phone data. It's like, actually just so boomer-esque. To Google, how do I murder? And like not even delete your history. But even then, like, you know, it's just, yeah. I mean, Erin, come on, sort out your life, love. If you're going to commit a crime, don't take your mobile phone. Although those people in Queensland that murdered their housemate, they took their phone when they went to hide her body in the bush, so they were able to like find it straight away. So I don't know. I mean, I don't want to give criminals advice, but like, yeah, your phone always knows where you are, guys. It always knows where you are.
Was found dumped at the local tip. Patterson was charged with 3 counts of murder and 1 count of attempted murder. The 50-year-old always denied any wrongdoing. Since then, the case took many twists and turns. Her Leongatha home was ransacked by opportunistic thieves. The alleged killer's fractured relationship with husband Simon was exposed, and there was the private letter to homicide detectives that was made public, where Erin Patterson admitted she lied to investigators as she wrote, "I believe if people understood the background more, they would not be so quick to rush to judgment." The next time Patterson was seen publicly, she was leaving the Melbourne offices of one of Victoria's top criminal lawyers.
Erin, what was the purpose of today's meeting?
Come over here, Erin.
What do you think?
Erin, is there anything you'd like to say?
Why were you seeing one of the top defense criminal attorneys? I don't know. Maybe because I've been accused of murder, bro. Like, is your brain okay? What a dumb question to ask. Oh,
Meanwhile,
get
the
wrecked.
people of Currambara were grieving. Simon Patterson led a service honouring his parents and aunt with touching tributes.
Mum and Dad were always strong pacifists. Mum's SMS notification sound was from the song War. Ha! What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. And it was no fluke that Mum's final text message on our family group chat as she lay in Dandenong Hospital was lots of love to you all.
And then, after almost 2 months in hospital and a liver transplant, Pastor Ian Wilkinson returned to deliver a sermon to his parishioners.
At the start of the week was 6 months since Heather and Gail and Don went to be with the Lord.
Meanwhile, Erin Patterson was locked up in one of Victoria's maximum security prisons, alongside some of the state's worst offenders. Her only excursions to Melbourne's Supreme Court and to her trial in Morwell.
Accused triple murderer Erin Patterson will stand trial in the Supreme Court after she pleaded not guilty to all charges.
That was a nearly Friendly Geordie style impression there. Yeah, well, his impression is of this guy called Yilmaz that he went to high school with, but I went to a high school full of Yilmazes. I am from Western Sydney, so that's where that comes from. That actually used to be my accent when I was a kid, so it's not offensive. Because, yeah. You wonder why the defense thought they'd get a not guilty? Because it's really hard to establish a motive, and you can often get an acquittal even if there is heaps of evidence, because like in a criminal trial, the burden of proof, right, that you have to reach is the burden of evidence that you have to reach is like beyond reasonable doubt. So you have to convince the jury that there's a 99% chance that she committed these crimes. Like if there's even reasonable doubt, that can, you know, if the defense can come up with a story that accounts for all the evidence, that's not, you know, her willfully killing her family, then a jury can, you know, return a not guilty like verdict and she'll be acquitted of the charges. Yeah, beyond reasonable doubt is an incredibly high standard. So that's why, you know, the defense, they had a good stab at it, because all, you know, you could create a narrative that you could give to the jury as a defense team. You could create a narrative that could perhaps, you know, explain away all of the evidence as like happenstance, as like, would you care if someone tried to tell you it was offensive?
In the days that followed, Simon Patterson told his side of their story. The court saw text messages that said he was too uncomfortable to come to the lunch, to which Erin Patterson replied, "That's really disappointing. I've spent hours this week preparing." The sole surviving lunch guest was up next, Pastor Ian Wilkinson, recalling his wife Heather asking Erin if she could take a look inside the pantry, but the host seemed reluctant.
"We're trying to understand what made these people so ill." "Yeah," she responded, raising her eyebrows. "Conversely, we're trying to understand why you're not that ill."
Erin Patterson's police interview was the first time the jury heard her perspective. Her children then explained their fractured relationship with their father, and in the defining moment of the trial, the alleged killer gave evidence after listening for 5 weeks as witnesses picked apart her every move. Erin Patterson is one of few alleged killers to give evidence in their own murder trial. It was her only chance to convince jurors, in her own words, that she's innocent, but they didn't buy it. Stephanie Anderson, 9 News.
What do we think? Do we think my Western Sydney, my like fully going back to like my childhood accent, is it offensive, guys? Or is it? I don't know. If I said the name of the suburb in Sydney that I came from, anyone from Sydney would be like, well, there's no way she didn't have that accent when she was a kid. You would straight up know. Look, whenever the suburb that I grew up in is on the news, it's always on the news for Islamic extremism. Let's just say that. That's what it's on the news for. It was on the news for that earlier this year, actually. So there you go. You've dealt with prosecutors and defenders before, and they are just as capable of tricking themselves into thinking they have a better case than what they do. Yeah, well, you know, it helps to believe in yourself. If you're trying to sell somebody bullshit and you believe your own bullshit, you know, that's far more convincing. If somebody doesn't believe their own lie, like, they're not going to be very convincing. So, yeah. Even salespeople use that tactic, right? They'll always, like, seem like they really believe in whatever they're trying to sell you. Even, like, maybe one day I will get YouTube sponsorships or, like, just sponsorships in, you know, gamer subs or something, and I'll just be telling you guys how much I love it and it's my favorite and I drink it every day. And you should use my code Pandadora at checkout to get 20% off your gamer subs. And you'll be like, wow, Panda really likes gamer subs. And I'll be like, yeah, 100%. Guys, I drink it every day.
This video is brought to you by Ground News. Earlier this week, the Alliance of Democracies published the Democracy Perception Index, the world's largest annual study on how people perceive democracy, with over 110,000 respondents across 100 countries. There were lots of interesting findings in there, but the one that grabbed the most headlines is that America...
I didn't even say what this video was. Sorry guys, I'm on bimbo time in my brain. It's called The Collapse of American Soft Power Explained. All right, I'll start it again because I just sort of pressed play without thinking. I'm just on autopilot. But no, I was just doing my like, oh my god, boys, like my Western Sydney accent. But yeah, I can see why some people might yeah, probably should tone down on it. But it's something that, like, I see more of a Ground News gal. Yeah, I mean, I will shill for anyone if they give me money. If I will shill for Ground News, I would definitely shill for China if Xi Jinping gives me money and gives me a panda. If they want to do panda diplomacy on me and they want to give me a panda, I'm so down for that. China #1. Xi Jinping, call me, okay? Call me. I'm here. I'm waiting. I am ready to receive money and pandas. Oh, and a koi pond. I really want a koi pond. You have no idea how much I want a koi pond. I really want one.
This video is brought to you by Ground News. Earlier this week, the Alliance of Democracies published the Democracy Perception Index, the world's largest annual study on how people perceive democracy, with over 110,000 respondents across 100 countries. There were lots of interesting findings in there, but the one that grabbed the most headlines is that America's global appeal has declined sharply.
Yay, we all disapprove.
China is more popular than the US. So in this video, we thought we'd take a look at the decline of America's global appeal, what you might call its soft power, what's driving it, and whether it really matters. If you're interested in the political alliances and groupings which shape our world, then you might enjoy our poster, Every Alliance Explained. It shows, in slightly confusing detail, all of the world's major alliances and how different countries link together. Check out the poster by clicking the link in. So let's just start by looking at the relevant data. In that report we mentioned in the...
I do these surveys every month or so, and I because they like give you $10 a survey or whatever, and I'm like, oh, I might as well just do it on my lunch break, you know, make $10 or so. And I had to do like a geopolitics one or whatever, and I rated North Korea and China above America in where I rank them and how much I like them and how much I trust them. Yeah, they got way higher marks. I know that like they use aggregate data and like all of your data is like de-identified and yada 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 yada. I know how it works, but I just like imagine in the old days where you used to hand back like a paper survey and someone would like look at your answers. They would be like, what's going on with this chick? China #1.
The intro, respondents across a number of countries were asked to say whether or not they viewed certain other countries positively or negatively to create a net approval score. On this metric, the most popular countries in the world at the moment are Switzerland, Singapore, Qatar, Canada and Japan. Most countries enjoy a net positive approval rating. That
Where
is,
are
more
we?
people across the world see them positively rather than negatively.
Hey, you didn't say Australia, and we're the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're the 6th popular. We should get. Where's our medals? I want to get stuff.
Negatively, but a handful of countries have a net negative approval rating. Saudi Arabia, Jordan and Argentina all have a slightly negative rating of -1. Russia, Iraq and Hungary all have a net negative rating of around -10, and Belarus, Israel and Iran all have net negative ratings of over -20, making them the least popular countries in the world. Anyway, what makes this list particularly interesting is that, for the first time ever, the US also registered a net negative.
Yeah, Joey, my sister says popular instead of popular, so that's why I say it. Yeah, she's pretty disabled, and she also apparently had a hearing problem. She wears a hearing aid now, but she didn't wear a hearing aid up until recently. So she always says like, yeah, she pronounces words really interestingly. She will always say, "You're so popular." She would always say to me, "You're so popular," and I'll be like, "Oh, thank you." Yeah, it's cute. Yeah, she does her best. She's like intellectually like about age 5 intellectually, so yeah, she's like a kid in a adult's body. But yeah, she's a sweetie most of the time, unless she's not. She does chuck tantrums, and those aren't good. But
approval rating, coming in at -5. Not only is this the US's lowest score ever, it also puts the US well below its superpower rival, China, which currently enjoys a net approval rating of +14. Furthermore, the vast majority of countries surveyed view China more positively than the US. Interestingly, other democracies, who have historically been pretty friendly towards the US, are now more likely to view the US negatively, while authoritarian regimes generally view America more favourably. There's also a stark geographic divide. America is viewed overwhelmingly negatively in Europe and the Middle East, but overwhelmingly positively in sub-Saharan Africa. This is a remarkable reversal. Since at least the 2010s, international opinion towards China has been generally pretty negative, while the US has historically been one of the more positively perceived countries on the world stage. Only last year, the same poll gave the US a net approval rating of +22, well above China on +5. Other surveys have found similar things recently. An Ipsos poll carried out earlier this year across 29 countries, for instance, found that only 46% of respondents thought the US would have an overall positive influence on world affairs, the lowest score ever recorded, and down from 59%, who said the same in October of last year, with declines in 26 of the 29 countries surveyed, and especially steep declines in Canada, South Korea, and Europe. So, what's going on? Well, obviously some of this is down to Trump, who's uniquely unpopular internationally. According to the Democracy Perceptions Index, Trump's international net approval rating stands at -30, behind not only Xi, who enjoys a net approval rating of +2, but even Russian President Vladimir Putin, who sits at...
Yeah, but have you seen the Vladimir Putin with animals compilations? I'm just saying, like, that is very good PR. When I see a man, like, with a cat, with a kitten, with a dog, and he's like all, you know, giving it pats and kisses and stuff, I'm like, it's very appealing, let's just say.
-17. This would also explain why America's image has been the worst damaged in Europe. After all, Trump has been far less friendly to Europe than Biden was, threatening to invade Greenland/Denmark, abandoning Ukraine, and frequently attacking what he sees as Europe's unfair trade practices. This speaks to the stark regional disparities at play here. Trump is super unpopular in Europe and the Middle East, but enjoys a net positive approval rating in sub-Saharan Africa. On the other hand...
That's so interesting. What's going on in Africa? Huh.
She is pretty unpopular in Europe.
The problem with any poll about the global opinion of the US in Western nations right now is everything is about Trump. The opinion could easily flip black. It 100% could. It would be interesting to see a comparison of the data from like 2016 to 2020, and then the Biden, and then to see if there was a flip, because they could, yeah, I mean, we could look at that, I guess. Because we've already seen, like, Trump, no Trump, Trump. So we definitely have the Biden years in between the Trump terms to have a look at, see how things flippity-floppitied. Approval was still pretty low under Biden. Well, I mean, they did literally have a man who should have been in care. Honestly, they were trolling out basically a reanimated corpse, meat puppet guy. So, yeah.
Europe, but very popular in both the Middle East and sub-Saharan Africa. However, while Trump might have accelerated things, America's global standing has been trending downwards for some time now. America's global image obviously suffered in Trump's first term, although not quite as much as it is right now. And while there was...
Although, I think since about 2003, America's approval amongst a lot of countries has been on the downward slide, especially when we found out there were no weapons of mass destruction, and the Arab Spring, you know, the CIA's involvement in like the toppling of like basically every regime in the Middle East. Like, are these things, they do, even like normies start to notice patterns and are just like, ugh. Trump is importing white people from South Africa. Yeah, he is, but that's not sub-Saharan Africa. Didn't it say sub-Saharan Africa? A horrible person. I can't see what you're putting in chat. If it's the name of a video or a link, just put the title of it or put a space in there so I can just copy and paste it if it is a link. Or if it's naughty words, don't say naughty words. I don't know.
Was somewhat of a recovery under Biden, global opinion towards the US still soured towards the end of his term and never returned to the...
Trump is saying there's a white genocide there. I know there was like something happening with farmers. I know there were some murders of white farmers, but I don't, it's really hard to know what's happening because the far right media portrays it one way and the far left media portrays it one way. So it's like, well, is the truth somewhere in the middle, or I don't know. So it's really, really hard to actually know what's happening in South Africa. But yeah. I don't think taking white refugees from South Africa would necessarily correlate with a positive approval rating in sub-Saharan Africa, because that's like a different region of Africa. People see America is something to be managed these days. Low trust, all gloves. Oh, 100%. 100%. And I think the reason why we put up with their shit before is because we had to. But now that it's, you know, the sun is setting on the American empire, we're kind of more in a position to just slowly back away. I don't know. I don't remember a time in my life where people have thought highly of Yanks. I think Americans just always assume that everyone likes them. But at least like the people around me and the people I grew up around with always kind of thought of them as like verbose, loud, arrogant, rude. And that was kind of whenever I would come across American tourists in Sydney or stuff, that was sort of the experience as well, I think. Or just them whinging about, like, in America, back home, we do it like this. It's like, all right, well, I'll take you to the airport, mate. Off you go. Like, it's like, don't go to another country and then complain they don't do things like they do in your country. It's like, yeah, it's another country. That's why you travel, to experience another culture. I don't know, I always found that funny.
Heady highs we saw under Obama. This is for a variety of reasons, but perhaps fundamentally because constant political dysfunction means America is no longer seen as the beacon of democracy it once was. We're not trying to have a go at the US here, by the way. Americans themselves broadly agree with this sentiment, and their faith in all America's major institutions, especially Congress, has been declining for the past few decades. Interestingly, that Ipsos poll we mentioned a second ago also found that 63% of Americans thought the US would have a positive influence on the world, the lowest figure ever recorded by quite some margin, and a testament to the lack of faith many Americans currently have in their own country. So, on to the last part of this video. Does this decline in America's global reputation actually matter? Well, there are sort of two competing schools.
Lowy poll as far back as 2006, 39% of Australians didn't trust the USA. Yeah, and that's like 3 years into Iraq, right? And we're starting to see on the news like Australians being killed, especially in friendly fire incidences with America. And why are we over there? Well, we were over there because of John Howard, but he's never gonna get into any trouble, so. There's been greedy politicians for a long time taking advantage of other countries. Yeah. It's all of America's relationships seem to be incredibly one-sided. But then they portray themselves as like doing like especially Australia, they always portray themselves as like doing us favors, and it's like, are you okay in the brain? Because that's just not the reality of the situation.
Schools of thought here. On the one hand, you've got politicians like Trump who seem to think that soft power, often defined as the ability to co-opt rather than coerce, doesn't really matter as long as you've still got hard power. In other words, the ability to force other countries into doing what you want via, say, tariffs or military action. Trump and co would argue that previous administrations overestimated the efficacy of America's soft power, and, in failing to convince other countries to do America's bidding, allowed the US to get ripped off, to use Trump's preferred turn of phrase. Advocates of soft power, on the other hand, would argue that soft power not only brings intangible benefits, but also that it reinforces hard power in certain ways. Soft power is what allows countries to attract the world's best and brightest, as the US has done historically. this has been great for the US, and high-skilled immigration has both driven America's impressive economic growth and helped offset the demographic pressures afflicting most developed countries. How other people see the US also affects what sort of governments they elect, and the decline in America's global standing will make them more likely to elect governments willing to resist American coercion. We've already seen this in both Canada and Australia, where more left-wing candidates who promised to take a stronger stance against Trump triumphed in the polls. Advocates of soft power would also probably argue that the decline in America...
Okay, I don't know anybody that voted for Labour because of their stance on America. Like, sorry, little British femboy guy. I don't know your name. Sorry, dude, who made this video. But yeah, that is such a reductive, oversimplified, oh, Trump bad, therefore Australia and Canada elected left-wing governments. No. People started to... Peter Dutton really literally did everything wrong. Everything that could have gone wrong for Peter Dutton went wrong. And I think when, especially with, you know, a lot of people struggling to keep a roof over their head in Australia, when people found out that, you know, Peter Dutton was worth $300 million and how he made that money, I think that really took it down. But like to suggest that American foreign policy has that much influence on Australia's domestic federal elections is just no, we don't care about you, we don't think about you, we don't care. Like, I think Dutton initially being so pro-Trump and sort of tying himself to that and trying to like style himself as being like similarly, you know, minded and policy driven in that vein, I think that made people not want to vote for Peter Dutton. But I don't think that necessarily made, you know, yeah, look, I just don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I would suggest to you, sir, who made this video, that you don't know shit about Australians or why, like, anything about the things that people took. I just think also the other thing was Dutton wasn't really taking any policy. He wasn't going into the election with any policy, and he was just expecting the media not to ask him about policy, and they did, and a lot of Australians saw that. And I think a lot of Australians saw, you know, the Future Made in Australia policy paper. A lot of Australians are hyper aware that, like, we need to modernize our economy. We can't just have an economy that's based on housing and resources and have that, like, as, you know, the tape that holds our shit together. That is not sustainable into the future. And to have a policy paper like Future Made in Australia, a lot of people found that really appealing because it's like, okay, someone's got a plan for the country. We can't just keep on doing the same shit, right? It's not sustainable into the future. And what does that have to do with Trump? None of that has anything to do with Trump. None of it. Dutton just had no idea what he was doing in the campaign. Oh, it's like he read a book of like what not to do and thought it was a book of what to do. Like 100%. He just kept on shooting himself in the foot over and over and over again. Like, it was just a comedy of errors every day. I almost felt sorry for him by the end of it. And like, I detest the man, but I almost felt sorry for him because it's like, oh, you poor little thing. You keep hurting yourself in confusion. You think he wanted to be reactionary and mean and everyone has already rejected that? Yeah, I think so. I think so. But I don't think it had anything to do with Trump. I mean, there were definitely some people that were turned off when Trump started to go, you know, really, really get really, really out there. I think there were a lot of people that kind of liked, a lot of us, like the far right Australians seem to really be pro-American, and they seem to like worship the Yanks for some reason, and they're always talking about like the First and Second Amendment, like it has anything to do with us, and yada yada yada, and they want, you know, they want Australia to be America. It's all very, very strange. I think a lot of those people, I think he was trying to court that vote, right? I think Dutton was trying to court that vote. But then when the people that aren't super far right and just sort of thought that Trump was maybe funny, a bit county culture, when they saw especially the way he was treating Australia, who has always been a really good ally, they were like, nah, fuck that. We don't like Trump, and we don't like somebody that's styling themselves after Trump and sucking up to Trump. And I think that was a turnoff for a lot of people. But I don't even know that those people would have necessarily have voted for Dutton as the election progressed anyway. I just don't. I'm not going to say Trump's no factor, but to state that like that's the overarching reason why, I just don't think it is. The pro-American Aussies. Yeah, I wonder if they're all bots, honestly, because if it, like, how could somebody that dumb function in society? Yeah, I couldn't even see themselves like doing a Woolies run without hurting themselves.
America's global image matters more now that it's been accompanied by a rise in China's global popularity. For anyone who's worried about America being usurped by a rising China, and this is pretty much a bipartisan anxiety in Washington at the moment, the fact that global opinion is turning towards Beijing should be a cause for concern, especially given Trump is currently trying to force countries to choose between the two superpowers. This is a complex and nuanced story though, and as such there's plenty more to read about this online, with 7 sources reporting on it. The issue is, how can you be sure that what you're reading isn't hugely biased? Well, that's a problem we face when making these videos too.
Is this going to be ground news?
This week's sponsor, Ground News, comes in. For this story and right-leaning out, we're able to do that because of our sponsor, Ground News. The incredible website and app lets you discover the news and that's because every factuality and ratings from 3 independent news monitoring organizations spot feed. It presents you
blah
side of the aisle or those on the other side of the political
is this all a ground news thing?
This is all in addition to the biased distribution, with such a useful tool for our current media landscape. And I think an app like this will only become more essential as the media landscape continues.
Okay, I think the rest of this video is a ground news ad, and they're not sponsoring me, so until they want to give me money, I won't give them any of my time. But I will shill for you, ground news, just so you know. I am here to take money from anybody that wants to give me money. I like money, give me money. I like pandas, give me pandas. If your country has cute animals and you want to send me one, I will shill for you. I'm here. The door is always open. Thank you.
Last month, the US announced...
Shush. You think that the idea that countries turning away from the US will uniformly lean towards China is misplaced? Well, yeah, they just assume that if one superpower is out of favor, then you'll automatically suck up to the alternative, right? Yeah, that's not necessarily the case, but some people can only see things in a binary. They're like, well, if not this superpower, then must be other superpower. You're immune to propaganda, so you read whatever you want. Okay, Hyperbovian, you have a still mind, an impenetrable brain. No propaganda's getting in. Stretching. This video, I think, is by the same guy. Why Australia is falling out with the US. Because we feel like it.
Last month, the US announced that it was conducting a review of its AUKUS security pact with the UK and Australia, with some US defense officials apparently arguing that AUKUS is inconsistent with Trump's America First policy, and that the US shouldn't supply submarines to Australia in case the US needs them for a conflict in Taiwan.
They act like they're just giving us these submarines. We are paying for them, and we lost money because we already commissioned submarines from the French, and we lost money when we reneged on that deal. And now you're acting like we're getting these submarines for free. No, we're paying you for submarines we're probably not even going to get. Okay. Calm down. I'm going to guys, I'm going to have an aneurysm, okay? It's serious. You can't be manipulated if you can't read. That is a very, very good argument for illiteracy. And I support you, Hyperbovian. I really do. Let's do it. As Ludwig would say, let's get those numbers up. Or down, in your case. I don't know. Although actually getting your blood alcohol up would actually decrease your ability to read in the long term if you're brain dead. You're paying the opportunity cost of waifu subs.
Unsurprisingly, this has raised eyebrows in Australia and put yet more strain on the long-standing US-Australia alliance, which was already fraying. So in this video, we're going to explain why AUKUS is in jeopardy.
Oh, it's a different guy. Hi.
All of this means for US-Australia relations.
Ooh.
We're getting ever closer to 1 million subscribers, and 68% of you aren't even subscribed yet.
Aww.
So lend us a hand and subscribe today. First, let's
I will subscribe to you, little nerd boy. You seem nice. I like you. Let's go. I will like and I will subscribe. And you can like and subscribe to his video too. I'm not joining. Bugger off. I will just subscribe. What's happening? Time for cat videos. We'll watch a cat video after this for sure.
recap the 2025 Australian election. Until just a couple of months before the election in May, polls suggested that the Conservative Liberal National Coalition, led by Peter Dutton, would oust the incumbent Prime Minister.
Yeah, subscribe to the nerdy twink. A horrible person is correct. Look. We can't... Look, we have all the manly men in Australia. Not everybody, you know. Not everybody can be a hot Chad Australian man, so that's okay. All the hot men in Britain committed crimes and came to Australia, okay? This is known. This is a known fact. And that's why we have all the hotties over here. And it's just the way it is. And sorry, England and Wales and Scotland and hey, Champ Pandadora sent me here. Yeah. Look, his videos are probably good.
Anthony Albanese's Labour Party. But as the election approached, Labour surged in support and secured a landslide victory, winning 94 out of the 150 seats in the House of Representatives. During the campaign, Albanese was more popular than Dutton, who was hurt by his proximity to US President Donald Trump. Dutton said in February that Trump was a big thinker and praised his art of the deal. And his campaign also had some Trump-esque policies, including huge cuts to Australia's public service, a Doge-style government efficiency unit, and a referendum on deporting criminals with dual citizenship. However, the Trump administration was unpopular with the Australian public, with a YouGov poll in April finding that 66% of respondents thought that Australia needs to develop more independence from the US on defence and national security, compared to just 39% in June of 2024. And more than
You thought the twins were for the boys? Twinks or twins? Are you talking about boobies or are you talking about twinks? Hyperbobian, you need to get back to me with your both boobies and twinks. Although I will say one thing I've noticed about gay men is gay men really like boobs, not in like a sexual way obviously, but like if you're hanging out with a gay guy, they'll always want to like put their head like on your boobs when you're watching a movie or something. I don't know. Anyway, I think I was telling somebody this story the other day actually. I was friends with a goth gay guy in high school, so because it came up like because I was saying, oh, like my friend in high school, he was like super into Kylie Minogue and super into Marilyn Manson, and they were like, what? And I was like, he was a gay goth guy, and they were like, oh, but my dad was really suspicious of him, right? My dad was really suspicious of him. My dad's like, there's no way, you know, that he's gay. He's just having all these Sheilas going around to his house and yada, yada, yada. And my dad was like really suspicious and wouldn't let me sleep over at his house. And then my dad met him and my dad was like, oh yeah, he is definitely gay. My dad's like, that dude is 100% gay. He's like, you can sleep in the same bed as him. I don't care. I'll buy you alcohol if you want to come over there. My dad was like, yeah, that man is not straight. That kid is not straight. Like, I don't have to be concerned about this as a father. So you have a joke, you don't think Twitch would let you post it? Yeah, probably not. Probably not. Yeah, DM it to Hyperbovian and he'll censor it or put it in, I don't know, he'll do something with it. Australia needs to develop independence from the US. I mean, that's just, we should not be dependent on the US. I strongly doubt if shit kicked off that they would even come to our defense. Look, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I don't like nukes, all right? But we have the uranium, we have the scientists, we have the capacity to just make our own nukes without having to get permission from anybody else. Let's just... The big plot twist is that he turned out to be bi. No, I can tell you that he's definitely he's still very, very, very gay. Very gay. Very gay. That man is 100% for the doodles. Yeah, very gay. Yeah, what was I saying? Brain. Yeah, Australia, if we have nukes, no one's gonna fuck with us. We don't have to be dependent on anyone. Just having them is deterrence from anyone attacking us. We obviously get rid of Pine Gap because that makes us a target for an attack. Because obviously if, especially an Asian power, if they want to take out America's weapons systems, they take out Pine Gap, well, that takes out, you know, long-range missile systems, right? Because you can't triangulate with only 2 sites. You need 3 sites for triangulation. So, yeah, nukes. We just have them. We're not going to use them. Australia is a peaceful country. But people aren't going to fuck with us if we have nukes. We should have nukes. We literally have the uranium here on our continent. We don't have to, you know, go through all these back channels or try and get permission from the world, you know, try and explain morally why we should have nukes. We just go. Like, I've got heaps of friends with youths, right? I'm like, let's go on a road trip to the Northern Territory. Obviously, it has to be in winter because I will die from that UV exposure in summer. Like, I actually probably would die. We go, we drive down some random dirt roads, we find some yellow rocks. There's probably a 50-50 chance that a yellow rock in the Northern Territory is uranium. Chuck it in the back of the ute, you know, we find some STEM boys, if they're hot, that's better. If they're not, that's okay. If they're just smart, that'll do. I mean, I prefer looking at nice things, but you know, we'll take what we can get. We'll supply them with beer. We'll be like, hey boys, enrich this uranium. Maybe we'll find like some chemical engineering students, you know, whatever. It doesn't matter. We'll just hit up the group of 8 unis. We'll go to the bars. We'll sort it out. I'm good in those situations. Okay, we'll sort it out. We'll get the STEM kids to enrich the uranium. Then, you know, they can do all the atom splitting and all that stuff. It'll, you know, I'm not saying it will be hard, not difficult. It will be difficult, not hard. That's it. STEM girly discrimination. Well, look, if they're gay STEM girlies, I can definitely work my magic on them. But look, there are way less girls in STEM, like we know that. I do have friends that are in, you know, medical researchers and things like that. Like I do have female friends that have STEM degrees, but they're the minority, and they're the minority in their workplaces as well, so.
70% of respondents thought that Trump's policies would make Australia worse off. For context, earlier that month, Trump had announced his Liberation Day tariffs, including a 10% tariff on Australian goods. Now, Albanese and Trump were obviously never going to be best buds, but relations have gotten off to a rockier start than most imagined. Broadly speaking, there are 2 issues straining the US-Australia relationship: trade and defense. On trade, you might expect Trump to be relatively friendly to Australia, given that it's one of few countries that the US actually runs a trade surplus with. This is why Australia was only threatened with the basic 10% tariff on Liberation Day, but this didn't go down well with Albanese, who since demanded 0 tariffs. Trade relations have also been complicated by Australia's economic relationship with China, which has long been Australia's largest trading partner. The US is pushing for Australia to reduce its trade with China, which Australia doesn't want to do. And Australia is also worried that US tariffs on China could undermine the Chinese economy, reducing demands for Australian exports. While on defense, the US has called for Australia to increase its defense spending from its current levels of about 2% of GDP to 3.5% of GDP as soon as possible. But under its current budget profile, Australia plans to increase its defense spending only modestly in the short term, to just 2.25% of GDP in 2028-29, rather than the more dramatic commitments made by countries like Germany, France, or the UK. One reason for this is that there just isn't much public support for increasing defense.
Well, apparently with the beef, China's been taking the beef, but what I wanted to happen was for Australia to take the beef, because how many times do you just want a steak or something and you go to Coles or you go to Woolies or you go to the butcher and you look at the price of a steak and you're just like, oh God, I don't want to spend that much for a steak. Like, honestly, you're better off going to the pub or something for a steak and getting like chips and a salad and not having to cook it yourself, and like probably having a beer as well, because it's just so expensive. Like, I wanted us to get the beef so it would bring the price of beef down, but we've been sending it to China apparently and they're really enjoying it. Not gonna lie, increasing our defense spending is probably a good move. I think it is, but I don't want to do it in the way that Trump wants us to do it. I want to do it in a way that makes us independent from the US. That's not what he wants. That's not what he wants. You DM'd it on Discord? Okay. I should put Discord on my phone so I can have a look at it while I'm on. Yeah, the joke. I figured, Joey. I figured it was the joke. I might have a look at it after stream though, because I've only got the Discord app on my PC, not on. Oh, I guess I could put a BRB screen up while I look at it.
Spending in Australia. An April 2025 survey by the University of Sydney found that only 1/3 of Australians support increasing it, suggesting that a majority feel that the current level of spending is either appropriate or too high. And this sort of makes sense. In Europe, much of the public enthusiasm for increased defence spending is motivated by anxieties about Russia, but Australia doesn't have such an acute security threat on its doorstep. Furthermore, Albanese argued that it's up to Australia to decide its defence budget, that arbitrary GDP limits are unhelpful, and that defence needs should be established first and funding allocated afterwards, rather than the other way round. However, this week Australia's Foreign Minister Penny Wong hinted that the US may have cooled off on its demand for Australia to increase its defence spending, at least for now. However, the other defence-related issue in this relationship is AUKUS. In June, the US announced that it was conducting a 30-day review.
Notice how when ANZUS disappeared, there's no NZ in AUKUS. So New Zealand just get to walk away. They don't have to be America's bitch, but we have to. ANZUS is gone. AUKUS is here. We have to have the OR. No NZ. That really pisses me off. And stop saying you invented the flat white and stop saying you invented pavlova, okay? Because don't make me come over there. I will take away your favorite sheep and I will never give it back. All right? And we all know how much you love your sheep waifus over there, and I mean business. So keep the flat white and the pavlova out of your mouth, all right?
Of the Biden-era AUKUS Security Pact, signed in 2021 between the US, UK, and Australia. Under the pact, Australia pays huge subsidies to both the US and UK's industrial bases to acquire between 3 and 5 US-built nuclear-powered attack submarines. This would massively upgrade Australia's military capabilities, as the US submarines are more advanced than Australia's diesel engine fleet, and would allow Australia to carry out long-range strikes against enemies. Now, even before the Trump administration was explicitly flirting with ditching the pact, there were anxieties in Australia that the US might not actually deliver the submarines.
Yeah, they're not going to. They're not going to.
It's currently lagging behind.
I don't even think it's an on-time thing. They're literally training welders at the moment. If we do get them at all, I think they're going to be really shoddy, but I don't think we're even going to get them. I don't think we're going to get them. We shouldn't have buggered over the frogs. Can we just give us our refund? If you haven't even started building them, just give us our refund and let us like have, you know. Ah, it's so annoying. Just annoying. Grr, poo, wee.
Schedule due to high costs and slow deliveries, and the US is struggling to meet its own targets. This is the main reason that Trump's Undersecretary of Defense, Elbridge Colby, who's leading the AUKUS review, is apparently, quote, skeptical of the pact's benefits for the US, and is wary of selling nuclear submarines in case the US needs them in a potential conflict over Taiwan. This AUKUS debacle has also restarted a wider debate in Australia about the country's dependence on the US. Former Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull claims that Australia is being mugged over its billion-dollar payments for US submarines that may never arrive, with Australia forecast to spend up to $368 billion in total on AUKUS between now and the mid-2050s, and instead argues that Australia should develop its own, more self-reliant defence strategy. Albanese's government does appear to be making moves here, announcing last month that Australia would start talks on a defence and security pact with the EU, following the EU's recent deals with Canada and the UK. So where next for US?
The issue is the deal with the frogs was a bit shoddy because they weren't nuclear. Yeah. I'm Homer Simpson. It's pronounced nuclear. Nuclear. Never make deals with Trump. Well, you know, he did write the book on it, Ricochet. He did write The Art of the Deal. Turnbull is so funny. He hates Trump. Yeah. Yeah. He was going to originally join the Labour Party instead of the Liberal Party, but then he joined the Liberal Party. Apparently, that's a thing.
Australia relations. Well, it's hard to imagine much improvement, especially if the US withdraws from AUKUS. Neither Trump nor Albanese has really invested much effort into mending ties. Albanese decided to miss this year's NATO summit, and Trump skipped a meeting with Albanese at the G7 meeting last month, where he left early to deal with the Iran-Israel war, which means that the two leaders still haven't met. Perhaps there could be some respite if the two sides can agree on a trade deal before Trump's looming July 9th deadline. But this could be difficult if the Trump administration pushes Australia to reduce its trade with China, given that this has been the backbone of Australia's economic strength in recent decades. All of this plays into a broader feeling of chaos in the world at the moment. Whether it's wars, economics, or geopolitics, it feels like things are increasingly uncertain. And who's at the middle of all of that? Well, the United States. At one time, the US seemed to be a steady, stabilizing force in global politics, but it seems that those days are over, with American influence, popularity, and dominance on the decline. So in the next issue of our magazine, Too Long, we're discussing this shift.
He's got a magazine. Oh, I'm gonna buy his magazine, guys. I'm gonna buy his magazine. I probably actually will. God bless.
And the potential that we're currently observing the end of the American order. In that section of the magazine, we unpack everything from the collapse of democratic norms in the US to the decline.
Literally every celebrity or politician or whatever uses a ghostwriter. All of them do Ricochet. All of them. They're barely literate people. Like, yeah, he's got a zine. It actually looks cool. I actually would like this. I'll read it on the train into the city. Look, guys, look at me. I'm reading about geopolitics. Aren't I? Aren't I so smart? Thank you.
Of American soft power, and if the US can maintain its dominance in energy and technology. We also discuss the people who could pick up the reins from the US, like if China, Europe, or even a new multipolar order could replace America. This magazine is our longest ever, coming in at 76 pages, and it's full of our very best journalism and well thought through analysis. That goes beyond just the US too, with more than half of the magazine dedicated to other topics, from Germany's new focus on military might, the offshoring of migrants around the world.
A horrible person wants to see Turnbull and Albo pash in front of Parliament, apparently a sloppy one. Lots of tongue and lots of saliva. Just going at it. I mean, I think if you put like some pasta sauce on Tony Abbott. Why did I say Tony Abbott? Where did that come from? I think if you... my brain went back in time. I think if you put some pasta sauce on Malcolm Turnbull's face, like lips, you might be able to entice Albo to come in for the pash, I reckon. Or get him on the beers. He seems fond of the beer, does Albo. Take him to a gig, get him on the beers. Turnbull rocks up with like Arabiata sauce on his mouth, and you know, it's probably gonna be on. We can film it and project it on like onto the speakers little lectern thing that he has. I mean, that would technically be them pashing in front of Parliament. We could do it. It's doable. Yeah, I don't know why my brain saw Turnbull and Albo and came up with Abbott. I did catch the ferry over when I was a student. I did catch the ferry over to Manly one time because this really hot guy that lived in French's Forest was like asked me to go to his house. So me and my friend, we called the ferry over, and apparently that's where Tony Abbott lives. But anyway, the guy picked us up in his van from like the ferry like terminal or whatever, and he was really weird and we were really scared. So we ended up just walking around the suburb that Tony Abbott lived like late at night because yeah, I was like, oh god, this guy's giving creepy vibes. You know when someone's like hot, but then you talk to them and you're like, oh, you're kind of, no. Some people just open like their mouths and all the hotness goes away. Tony in his Budgie Smugglers had a large middle-aged female family. I'm not into that very British like look. No, that's gross. Tony Abbott is gross, 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 gross. Yuck. Yuck. Oh, and when he was trying to say that his daughters were heaps smashable, I'm like, maybe on the northern beaches where there's like no genetic diversity, but not in the rest of Australia, mate. Like, take it down a notch. No, I think when I just saw Turnbull, my brain went back in time to when like Tony Abbott was, you know, politically relevant. Starlee Steggall's been in his seat for ages now, right? She's been in there for a few terms. She started off the whole Till hot and crazy is trying to date lately. No, I just like hot. I like hot and smart. You have to be hot and smart and funny. Hot, smart, and funny. Otherwise, I'm not entertaining any of that.
World, how Nigel Farage could become Britain's next Prime Minister, or our section where we ask a handful of experts what's really driving anti-establishment sentiment around the world. You can pre-order a copy of Too Long from our website right now, or you can subscribe to make sure that you never miss an issue going forward. And if you do, you'll also get 20% off every copy as long as you're subscribed. Plus, just this week, if you use code AmericanOrder, you'll get an additional 20% off any subscription, bringing down the price to as little as £6.40. So pre-order a copy now to get your...
I'm gonna let him spruik his magazine because I think it's so nice that he made a magazine, and I actually might buy it because I'll see how much the postage is to Melbourne, but I might buy his magazine because God bless. Look, he looks like a sweet boy. He looks like he's probably nice to his mum and his nan. He looks like he helps people, like, he looks like he helps mothers, you know, with their prams off public transport. Like, I don't know. He looks like a nice boy. Sometimes, you know, I will buy his magazine. It actually seems good.
yourself all of that extra content and support the journalism that we do here at TLDR every single day.
Hyperbovian, this influencer on, I don't know, one of the, I think Instagram or YouTube or something, she said, if you can match your own standards, then your standards aren't too high. All right? So don't you tell me about my standards for men. Thank you. Anyway, I'm going to BRB for a second. I will be back momentarily. Yay, I'm back. I bet you're glad that I have returned. I know I'm gonna get bitten by my cat when I finish streaming because she's mad. Because she's decided she's not allowed into this room, even though she is. And because she's decided that she's not allowed in this room, then she can't hang out with me, and then she will bite me to voice her displeasure at me streaming, because she's decided she doesn't like it. I'm feeling very attacked. I think I might play some GeoGuessr and then go to bed. It's 11 o'clock. And I have to go to the gym. I have to go to the gym after I finish streaming. Luckily the gym is 200 meters from my house, thank God. But I bought like an EFS gym membership. It was like half price because it was the end of financial year sale, which is good because I couldn't afford that gym. I was like, oh, it's so close and it's pretty good. They have like a sauna there. They've got like ice bath stuff. They've got all this fancy stuff. And I was like, ooh, and it's walking distance and it's 24 hours. It's like, ooh, everything's good. But they wanted like $2,000 for a gym membership. It's like, I don't have $2,000. So, yeah, I'm gonna go to the gym. It's gonna be good. Well, it won't be good, but I need to go. I need to go stop my muscles from wasting away. So, that's what we're gonna do. Boop, 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 boop. I have the Sailor Moon theme song in my head. I've been watching like shorts on YouTube, like Sailor Moon shorts. People have been making like AIs of like Sailor Scouts in real life, and I'm like, ooh, what does Sailor Mars look like in real life? And I'm like, ooh, and I've just been watching them, so I've just been walking around humming Sailor Moon. Oh, screen. Yay. I can't see anything. I can't see anything. I can't geo-guess when I can't see. Oh, we're on a highway. All right. Nice. Nice. Okay. Looks like a shithole wherever it is. I shouldn't say that. I'm sure it's a perfectly nice place. Alright, there's a sign up here. Oh, he saw the sign before I did. Shit. 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 Where's the sign? It's not loading. It's not loading. He thought that was Australia. That is so offensive, mate. That is so fucking offensive. How fucking dare you? Wait, what did this writing say? Oh my god. Stop it. Alright, let's go for Bolivia. I don't know. It was Bolivia! This guy is outsmarting himself. What a poo head. Alright. They sell tortillas. Let's go for Mexico. Is that racist? I don't think that's racist, right? Because, like, that's a thing. Welcome to the solo league. Okay. All right. I'm listening. What do I do? I'm promoted. Okay. I am listening. Oh, it wants me to pay money to move up. I'm not playing. Replay amateur. Yeah. It said I get to move up to the really, really big people game, but I feel like I'm going to big school, but I'm not paying, so it looks like Frankston. I've been to Frankston. That doesn't look like Frankston. Yeah, I got it. I'll erase my progress. That's all right. I don't want to pay. I don't want to pay no monies. Ooh, he's from Finland. Oh, this looks nice wherever it is. There's people. We got some frescoes on the ground. We got some beautiful architectures. Just pluraling the word. What language does this look like? Okay. Oh, that was a sign. Did I miss it? Did I overshoot the sign? Oh, fuck off. Yeah. Oh, you are doing my head in, mate. That guy. Fuck me dead. Oh. Come back, recycling bin. I love you. Come back. I need you. I want you. I need you. Dry mixed recyclables. Do you have a website there, mate? You got a website for that bin? My mouse isn't working. Oh, okay. It's English speaking country. Let's just go the UK somewhere. This guy is seriously doing my head in though. Alright, let's have a look at this servo. See what language we're dealing with. Oh. Okay. Imagine seeing Cyrillics and going, Sofia, okay, Bulgaria. There's Turkey, there's Romania, there's Bulgaria. Guess. Okay, this looks like Bolivia. No, what? Okay, there's a sports team on his jacket, but I can't read what it is. They're both wearing a sports team, so would be good if we could tell what it is. Could be South Africa. Okay, it's Africa. Red soil. Looks like it got some altitude. All right, let's... Boop, 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 boop. Oh, okay. Altitude. We're in mountains. We're in the mountains. Color of the soil is very red. Okay. We got some temple dogs. It's giving... See you, Dango. I hope you have a nice night. Should I play another game or should I go back? Should I go back to bed? Should I go to bed? No, I have to go to the gym. Oh, I don't want to go. I have to go though. I have to do it. Life is hard, guys. All right, one more and then I'm gonna go to the gym, but I don't want to go. Oh. Oh, Europe. I think it's giving nice times. Let's go this way. What does this sign say? Alright, I think this is Scandinavia. And he's gonna get it because he's Swedish. Is this the UK? Barrack Street? Yeah, this is the UK somewhere. This looks like the freaking UK. What up, bruvna? It's the UK, innit? Oi. Macca's? All right. ID.co.id. That could be India. Why did my brain fart and I forgot where India is? All right. ID is Indonesia. Yeah, I probably am losing frames. This soil looks like South Africa. South Africa. Help! Osamos le apras. Da.